Imagine holding in your hand a coin that was born in the middle of the most devastating global conflict the world had ever seen. A coin struck not from the usual copper, but from steel coated with zinc. A coin that stands as both a necessity of war and a symbol of resilience. This is the story of the 1943 steel wheat penny, a coin so unique in American numismatic history that it continues to fascinate collectors, historians, and everyday people alike from the moment it left the presses of the United States Mint during World War II to the decades of discovery in pocket change. This coin has carried with it a tale of sacrifice, ingenuity, controversy, and survival. And today we will go deep into its history, its design, its circulation, its varieties, its errors, and its lasting impact on American coinage and culture. The wheat penny itself began in 1909 as part of President Theodore Roosevelt's campaign to beautify American coinage and honor Abraham Lincoln on the centennial of his birth. The new Lincoln cent featured the beloved wheat ears reverse, symbolizing prosperity and hard work. It became instantly popular and remained in production until 1958, when the memorial reverse replaced it. However, in 1943, the world and the mint faced an unprecedented challenge. Copper was needed for shell casings, for ammunition, for electrical wiring, for the vast machinery of war that kept Allied forces supplied on the battlefields of Europe, Africa, and the Pacific. The mint had no choice but to look for alternatives to continue cent production. Thus came the birth of the steel cent. In 1943, for the first and only time in American history, the 1-cent coin was made primarily of steel with a thin zinc coating to prevent rust. 3 main mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, struck these coins in the hundreds of millions, but despite their massive numbers, their appearance was so unlike the traditional penny that they immediately stood out in circulation. Bright silvery color often caused them to be mistaken for dimes, and their light weight made them feel unusual in the hand collectors. Today, see the 1943 steel wheat penny as one of the most iconic pieces of U.S. coinage, not just for its metallic composition, but also for the many varieties and errors that surround it. The most famous and valuable error is the 1943 copper penny, a mistake that occurred when leftover copper planchets from 1942 were fed into the presses. These rare survivors of a minting transition have fetched prices in the hundreds of thousands, even millions at auction, and continue to spark dreams among coin roll hunters and collectors around the world. But even the steel cents themselves have their own story of where corrosion and survival, while the zinc coating protected the steel core. Initially, it often wore away, leaving the coins prone to rust and pitting, especially in humid environments. This made pristine examples harder to find and gave rise to the challenge of collecting steel pennies in high mint state grades. The differences between coins struck at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints provide additional variety for collectors, with each mint leaving its small identifying mark, or in the case of Philadelphia, none at all. Beyond the numismatic details, the steel penny reflects the sacrifices Americans made during World War II. It symbolizes how even the smallest denomination of money was tied to the larger war effort, and how everyday life adapted to extraordinary circumstances. Newspapers of the time reported on public reactions to the new pennies, some praising the patriotic move, others complaining about confusion at cash registers, banks, and stores. The mint itself issued statements reassuring the public that the change was temporary, and indeed, in 1944, copper returned, but not pure copper. This time, the coins were made from salvaged shell casings, a poetic reminder of how money and war became linked. In the most literal sense, over the decades, the 1943 steel wheat penny has grown in legend. Stories of children in the 1950s searching through piles of change in hopes of spotting the shiny steel cents, stories of families keeping jars of them as curiosities, stories of collectors chasing after the elusive copper version as the holy grail of American cents. Television shows, magazines, and coin dealers all helped spread the fame of this coin, turning it into an icon in American numismatics. In the world of grading and value, The steel wheat penny presents many dimensions. A common circulated example may only be worth a few cents, but higher-grade uncirculated specimens, especially those with brilliant original luster, can command significant premiums. Mint State 65 or better coins, particularly those certified by professional grading services, can bring collectors hundreds of dollars. And when it comes to error, coins off-center strikes, doubled, dies wrong, planche errors, and of course, the legendary copper strikes, the prices soar into the stratosphere. As we dive deeper into the history of this coin, we uncover the metallurgical decisions, the political discussions, and the wartime directives that gave birth to the 1943 steel cent. We explore the day-to-day experiences of Americans encountering the new coins. We trace their journey through circulation, storage hoards, and the modern collector market. We look at the technological challenges of producing steel planches at scale, the methods of plating them with zinc, and the problems encountered when the coating wore down. We also consider the long-term influence this coin had on future minting experiments and the ongoing fascination with alternative metals. The story of the 1943 steel wheat penny is not merely about a piece of currency. It is about America itself in a time of sacrifice, innovation, and unity. It is about the intersection of war and money, industry and necessity, patriotism and daily life. It is about how a small coin in your pocket can tell a story that stretches across continents and generations. And by the end of this journey, you will see that this humble penny is not just a coin. It is a chapter of history frozen in steel.